Hello.
Hi, welcome to the Fckgirls podcast. We're here with Brian Millward.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. How are you?
Oh, I'm lovely.
Brian, what do you do in life? You're a zoologist and a
Yes.
comedian.
And I just got my master's in zoology
Wow.
in December. So
That's crazy. How long did that take?
took me about 2.5 years because I
Nice.
took a little bit of an extra vacay to Costa Rica
Yeah.
for 6 months because I was like,
You have to.
you have to. I feel like as a scientist.
Exactly.
And then just plugging away at doing stand-up comedy
Nice.
in the big old city.
In Montreal, did you become a zoologist?
What?
No.
In Toronto?
No, born and raised in Toronto. Do I give off like a shitty vibe? Is that what you assume?
No, I don't know
No.
why. I thought you were from Montreal.
Well, thank you.
welcome.
I appreciate it.
Because
think-
you're so bohemian.
So I'm just so chill.
I think Montreal people are really cool. To be fair.
That's well, good for them.
Maybe I'm wrong, but
No, they are. They
I
are.
do think that.
I've gone to Montreal like twice to do comedy,
Mm-hmm.
and every time I feel like I'm just trying to like touch as many things as possible. Like I'm like, give me whatever this is.
Yeah, it's very nice. Hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get the image of like a long gray coat.
Mm.
Do you guys know
What?
I mean?
Okay, Freud.
No, explain that Rorschach image.
That's what I think of when I think of Montreal. Is like a long gray coat, a nice coat.
So what garment represents Toronto for you then?
That's tough. Probably some sort of pant.
Like a pantaloon?
I'm thinking what would be if we're going pants, it would be like those pants that are like the jegging with the dropped crotch and
Oh.
a cinched ankle.
Oh yes.
You know?
Yes.
And then they've got those like those
Designs,
lines,
yeah.
like the lines on the front that like
Yeah.
are meaningless.
Yes, those.
I love those pants.
They're
On
so
people. I don't have any,
I love
but
it.
they are so
Oh.
cool.
Drop that crotch.
Drop that crotch.
Drop that crotch, but then also like struggle a lot to get them off of your feet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's there's no space in those ankles.
But that's fashion.
Hey.
Hey. We have to say this is season 2.
Oh, yeah. We're very
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for being here for the premiere episode.
inaugural.
Darling.
Of season 2. Yeah, we're gonna hit you on the head with a bottle. Sorry, like a boat, you know. But yeah, thank you to everyone who's been listening this whole time. We never really thank you, but there we go. There you go.
I'm welling up. That was so heartfelt.
Well, here. That's the best I can do. I'm not very good at
Good.
complimenting.
Yeah.
Brian, you're also amazing, and we thank you.
Oh
and,
my
and there you go.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome.
And thank you, Ana-Marija. There you go.
Thank you so much, Jordanne. There you go.
That's what you wanted, isn't it?
It is what I wanted, and I thank you. There you go. This is I'm just getting over a cold, so that's why I sound really weird.
You sound great.
Do I?
I love the vocal fry.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's like
You
a bacon.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Bacon sizzling in the pan.
I had pancakes this morning.
Mm.
They were good.
You did? Did you
did.
make them?
Zach made them.
Ooh, lover boy steps up.
Does he usually make breakfast for you?
No. Usually we have toast, so it's like really easy. And we'll just take turns putting the toast in. You're looking at me like
That makes monogamy sound so awful.
the thing is,
Like,
before,
we have toast.
we love toast so much. Everyone makes fun
Oh
of us for
my
it, but I just
God.
love toast. I do.
Brian's had it.
It's good. You can't deny that.
I know that's good, but like it's just so sad that that's like your guys' thing. Like,
I know it honestly is,
like
yeah.
some people are like, we do like BDSM, we role play, we have toast every morning, and it's something really special we share with each other. Like,
And up until 2 weeks ago, he didn't have a toaster, so we would do it in the oven.
Wow. Okay, no,
But
that's
he got a
pretty
toaster
fancy.
for Christmas. From his
Brian is horrified right now. Horrified.
it's not that big of an investment for a toaster. Like,
you know, but it's a small apartment. You wonder if it's
Oh,
worth the
Lord.
space. It is. It is.
Well, then we would love to know what you think of our next rule in light of toast and BDSM.
Yeah.
The rule that we brought today is never give up on love.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much again for having me. I'm
you.
just gonna let myself out.
Brian hates
Sad.
this rule.
I thought I was supposed to come up with a rule.
You will as
Oh,
well.
okay, great. Because my rule's actually applicable. But yeah, let's dissect this one for what, 2 hours?
Ana-Marija's,
give up on
that's how
love.
she's feeling. We have to let her talk about it.
Good.
Thank
Where'd you
you.
find this rule? 'Cause
My
sure
heart,
they'll
when
do-
I found God, when I looked into myself, I felt it.
Brian was just telling us that you find God in yourself.
Oh, I forgot that
No,
didn't
I
happen.
didn't say that.
No, you did say that.
You're making me sound like I'm a preacher.
You pretty much are.
I did.
So we were talking about this book that Brian was reading where
You can tell us
It's
about
called
it.
how about you tell us?
It's called Homo Deus, and I'm reading it because it's
Oh, I get it. It's like
historian.
Amadeus.
Yes, and
Oh,
the
that's smart.
idea is this author, provides this idea where it's no longer, religions no longer looked to as like some random person in a cloud or some deity. It's a humanist religion, and we believe in ourselves, so we believe in our own feelings, and our own ideas and our own thoughts above everything else, and that's what we're taught when it's like, oh, like be true to yourself, you do you. Those are all humanist, sayings. And so his point was, even if you're someone who believes in a God, in, a higher power or whatever, it's not because it didn't come from some external, voice or teaching. It's because you felt something within you. So even though you're saying you believe in God, that belief system still came from, your heart, your soul. You believed it within you, kind of thing.
Right.
So no, if you don't want to not saying here and be like, God's in all of us. Like, it's okay if it isn't for you, or if it is, cool. But like,
Yeah.
good Lord.
Sorry, that's what we got from it. And that's what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
know. It
That's
sounds
what
like
I'm
you want us
taking
to
away from
join
it.
your church. I'm fine to join your church,
So-
Brian.
Yeah, we will.
We will. We were saying yes.
Oh
You're
my God. Well, thank God you guys can help me hand out pamphlets outside the studio after.
and what were we talking about?
Your rule.
That love, never give up
my-
on love.
Never give
Our
up.
rule.
Our rule of never give up on love.
I think it's important.
I think so too. I think just like the concept of where it came from when I looked inside me and found God was that I was like, everyone lately, because I've been very depressed, has been like, number one thing, never give up. Like, okay.
Yeah, number one.
Got it, sensei.
Yeah.
So
I feel like in this, this Tinder age, and everyone's just, it's all chill. It can be easy to be like, oh, well, love's not even real, if you don't look for it. But some people
but
don't
love
want.
is all around us. It's in the sky and the air. That's a real song.
You're really freaking him out.
Oh Lord. No,
a
but
real
I
song,
feel like
right?
when I see, like, because people see the explosion of sort of like the hookup culture and the dating apps and all that sort of stuff, and people take that and they say, oh, well, the old concept of love is dead.
Yeah.
Like, people aren't looking for romance anymore. They're not looking for commitment. They want, all these other things. And for me, I've never seen it in that way. To me, all those dating apps, everything like that, it's just another tool.
Right.
It's another tool for you to use however you want to use it.
Yeah.
So when people are like, oh, everyone's hooking up and everyone's doing all these things and I can't find someone to commit to, I'm like, no, like that same person who's like, let's say using Tinder or whatever to like hook up with, dozens and dozens of people, and they're not looking about commitment and whatever. It's like, go 30 years back, they'd be that same person like wheeling and dealing at a bar.
Yeah.
Or like using a phone sex operator or like whatever. It's like whatever tool that's available, people are going to use it in however they
Yeah.
deem fit. And so for like people to sit there and be like, oh, like there's no hope
no
for me
love
because
anymore.
everyone else is looking for hookups. It's like, no, it's just like, maybe either don't use that tool
Yeah.
that everyone on there is using, to hook up with,
Yeah.
or be very explicit what your intentions are. You know, I've got so many girlfriends where it's like, he was so handsome, he was so cute, you know, I couldn't say no. But then when I, you know, on her profile, she's talking about like how she's kind of like, you know, she's not really looking for anything serious. She's not really looking for anything serious, blah, blah, blah.
So
because she doesn't want to
contradictory.
scare that guy off
Yeah.
who's using Tinder as a hookup app.
Yeah.
And then, you know, maybe they go out for coffee and end up hooking up. And then she's like, but then he's like, oh, I really liked him. And now, like,
Yeah.
now it went too fast. And I'm like, but girl, you were fooling yourself. Like, you were
Yeah,
trying to
you went
convince
into it that
yourself.
way.
Yeah.
That's
So, like,
so
you've gotta be honest with yourself.
I feel like that's so common and so sad.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
if you actually want, like, if you're someone who isn't giving up on love and that sort of like, I don't even want to use the term like real connection, because a hookup can involve a real connection. Like, if you want that sort of commitment, that sort of romantic, you know, connection, whatever, like, maybe you have to talk to yourself and go, oh, maybe being like, you know, a nameless profile picture isn't the best way for me to really find that more genuine connection with someone. And maybe I need to push myself to go out in person more, interact with people more, you know, put my feelings across better.
yeah.
All those sorts of things. Because if you're that person who's like trying to find real love, but you're hiding behind your screen like everyone else,
Yeah.
it's going to be a hard journey.
Brian, I feel like you're like me, but with confidence.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I can see that.
We even have the same hair,
Yeah.
except you have better hair. But
Well, I'll give you my
That's the confidence thing.
volumizing. I've got some volumizing moves I can get for you.
if I were confident, my hair would look like that.
Yup.
It would, yeah. No, your hair's great. Your hair's great.
I love
Thank
it.
you. Yeah, that's really interesting about the sorry. I am on a lot of cough medicine, so I just lost my train of thought. Yeah, I hope everyone keeps saying that it's like a hookup culture and stuff. It reminded me of this show that I just finished watching called You. It's with Penn Bradley from
Penn Badgley, yeah.
from Gossip Girl.
Did you watch it? I watched it.
I haven't
Oh,
seen.
you watched it too?
I did.
I haven't
watch
seen.
it?
No. Because one, already I'm not really into the whole teen drama things, and the fact that they've got him from Gossip Girl and the girl from Pretty Little Liars. It's
Yeah.
already.
Is she from Pretty Little Liars?
No,
Yeah.
Shay.
No,
I mean,
Yeah, Shay.
Oh.
The friend.
Oh,
Not
okay,
the
okay.
main girl, the
Okay.
friend.
Peach. You know?
Oh, Peach. Right.
So
Okay.
for me, I'm already halfway out the room at that point.
Yeah.
And then also, like, where do you go after season 1? Does he kill her?
Well,
Don't. Well, I could care less,
Okay, wait,
but
wait.
someone who's listening might be
spoiler-
very upset.
Spoiler alerts coming.
So
now we're
what
going to talk
happens?
real.
he kills her at the end of season 1.
So where do you go season 2 is my question. Does he go after another girl?
It's his ex that you thought he killed already, but she's not dead.
Yeah.
And she comes back to.
Oh.
And yeah.
But so the reason that I brought that up is because I remember I saw that trailer and I was like, I'm not watching this. This is just like all of my worst fears in a trailer now.
Yeah.
It's like Anna, all the people you were afraid. Oh man, I constantly think about all the people who are stalking me.
Oh, it's millions.
like millions, gazillions.
We really shouldn't even post these.
I know. We need to go undercover. But it's just that like intrinsic fear of like you hear someone like walking behind you and you're like, oh shit. And it's like late at night, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But personified into a whole like 45-minute, 10 episode first season.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to watch it because of that. And then I was like, really sick, and so I was like, whatever, I'll just watch it. Started watching it and I was like, this feels so weird. It feels so weird because like he's supposed to, it's not like a traditional, like someone like Dexter, for instance. He has such like, which I feel like they're trying to make Penn's character in that. It's so fucked up. He's so like, you see his past and you're like, I get it. Like I get how this could have happened to you.
Yeah.
But with Penn, you're like, what? He had a weird like pseudo father figure librarian who was kind of abusive to him, maybe
Locked him up.
locked him up, and we're kind of like, okay, but it doesn't really
Well,
justify in
yeah.
your head.
Well, that's the
for
thing
him
that
to...
I always say is like, there's many, everyone has a past. Everyone has a story that'll make you cry. Everyone
Exactly.
has struggle in their life because that's how we like to view ourselves.
Yeah.
As like we're overcoming things, regardless of what your story is. There's always an aspect of struggle.
Yeah.
But that does not excuse
No.
bad behavior. Like
No,
you
and
cannot.
And the frustrating thing about the show is that, like, for 2/3 of it, I would say, everyone's treating him like he's a good guy.
Well, they don't know.
I know that they don't know, but
you know.
we
Yeah,
know.
we know.
So from like a viewer perspective,
yeah,
there's
very,
nothing
very
that's
scary.
it's so there's not enough like justice, I guess, from a viewer perspective.
Yeah.
And then the reason I bring this whole thing up is because I started looking up reviews online, and honestly, it could have just been a troll. It could have been someone like working on the show who was trying to create like tension or friction.
Yeah.
But somebody posted a Google review that was like, "You as a guy should watch this. The main thing," it was like a play on words. The main thing that I took from this is like, never again to date a girl like the protagonist in the show who will tease you and like string you along. And you're like, what? That is not the point of the show at all. Oh my God. And he's like, all these like hookup culture babes and like, she has daddy issues and you don't want to deal with them. And she doesn't, all this. And it went on and on and on. And I was like, holy shit.
Literally,
Like,
he kills her.
like, okay, if this person is for real that wrote this, it's
Yeah.
like, that is the sacrifice you make with shitty fucking storytelling. That isn't like, that doesn't show like the consequences of people's actions enough. Is like someone can just like identify, so it can just like reinforce someone's worldview.
Oh,
Yeah.
completely.
I mean, this person is probably fucked anyway, so
Yeah.
I don't know. Like maybe in all fairness, maybe they could have watched like a Pengu episode and been like, "This justifies like hating my mom,"
Yeah, Yeah, that's scary.
But then would it like this? Because once again, I haven't seen the show at all, and it's a shame that like if someone were to watch that show and the character of like the male character protagonist like somehow resonated with them.
Well, you could see how it could.
Like,
Like,
you
there's
would-
moments where he's like, "Oh, she's such a sweet girl. I love her so much. I just want to protect her. I just want to be a good guy to her." But then he's like, what that means is he does crazy shit.
Right. And understanding, to me, it's always about like self-awareness. If you can yes, it's good to notice red flags in someone else if you're with them and be able to be like, oh damn, like they just pulled that card on me. Oh, nope. Get out.
Yeah.
But it's even more valuable if you can see within yourself the
God.
red flags that you have. Stop it.
We get it. God is
No,
great,
the red
Brian.
flags, red flags that you have, because no
Yeah.
one's a perfect dater, no one's a perfect companion or person to be in a relationship with, and I think it's a real shame when we use our partner to be like the fixer, like I'm a mess, or like I've got these parts that I'm insecure about or whatever, but it's like now that I'm with you. We're gonna, make each other better.
Yeah.
And to me, it should be more about like, you go through relationships, you go through dating, you go through different hookups, experiences, whatever. And the teaching moment in those things should be trying to figure out when you make the wrong decision. Like I'm awful with, like not falling too quickly, but just like, I fantasize really quickly. So if some guy is like being really nice to me and he tells me I'm funny and he thinks I'm cute or whatever, and we have a really nice time, like I know my mind starts spinning. I'm that bitch that's writing his last name next to my first name. I'm the one who's thinking, how many dogs are we going to have? Like, what neighborhood are we going to live in? Like all those things. And I realize I go kind of into this, mental,
Yeah.
like NutriBullet, and then it's like, and the poor guy's not there. Like this poor guy has no idea that I've already picked out the color combos for the wedding, that we're doing all these things together, and it's like he has no idea. And to me, that's something that I've had to constantly like rein myself in and just kind of be like, okay, you're allowed to have the fantasy. That's part of the fun of like falling for someone is like, oh, like what's our life gonna be together and everything like that. But you've got to get a grip and tell yourself it's just a fantasy.
Yeah.
Poor guy has no idea that he's already lived an entire lifetime with you inside your head. And you've got to get back to reality and check in with him.
Yeah.
So
Hey, do you see dogs in our future?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I do the exact same thing. I'm very guilty of that. I'm constantly, and then what happens for me is I always end up mourning this life that we could have had.
Yes! You go through full mourning. Because then the guy dumps you. Because obviously you're nuts. At least that's what happens to me. Like, that's what happens to me. It's like, we'll get into it and you'll be like, oh, like, you want a lot more than what I want right now. Like, usually they're not as quick to catch up to me. And so then, yeah, I end up having, like, he'll break up with me. And I'm not hurt at the fact that he broke up with me because when this has happened, I realized there was no connection between me and him.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
Yeah.
We barely had anything in common. We barely spent any time together. But here I am mourning, like, this dream life that I had built for us, like, conjured, like, barely even put together.
Sad.
But you know, so I totally get what you're saying. It's like, but to me, that's amazing self-awareness. Because if you're able to make that distinction and say, oh, I'm actually not heartbroken because I lost him. I'm heartbroken because I let myself get carried away in these ideas and these fantasies and what I was hoping for, you know, my future and blah, 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 like stuff like that. If you can make that, like, if you can discern those two things, that helps you so much more, because people, like, that's when people start to, like, get personal about it. And it's like, no, this is something that I had to deal with because it was my own doing. I was the one who went, you know, a little nutso and fantasized about all these things. And so I'm going to mourn and be sad about losing that, but I'm not going to be upset that, you know, so-and-so wasn't interested in me.
Yeah, that's very true. I've never been like, I've never been more upset over someone breaking up with me than just like all the other stuff. Like, someone breaking up with me, it's like I can deal with that so easily. And it's crazy though how many times like I've been in the position where I'm like, I should just tell this person that I'm not interested, but I'm like, it's too awkward, and like, and then I start being vague, and I'm like, people have done this exact same thing to me. Why can't I just like man the fuck up and be like, listen, I'm not interested, or listen, it's not the right timing, or whatever. And I've done the exact same thing that I despise other people for doing to me.
Well, I think it's because, but that's a very proactive thing to do. And humans are, you know, we are more reactive, which is something that's frustrated me seeing other people go through relationships. So like what you were describing is a very proactive thing. You know, we've gone on a few dates, we've hung out together. Yeah, there's a bit of connection, but I'm not seeing it go anywhere further than this, right? So then the proactive response would be, oh, you know, nothing awful has happened. It's not like we've even gotten into a serious fight or anything. But I know this ain't going to go very far. So I should just kind of, you know, end it now, because I just don't see much worth in it moving ahead. But people don't like to do that because then there's nothing, like there's no justice in it. There's no,
like payoff?
Like, So we like to, like, people like to hold on to things until there's a real reason to end it, right?
Right.
And it's like, I'll see people like stay in relationships that they're not even that invested in. And then it's like, my favorite is like, so for instance, they'll be like, okay, I've done this, which was really bad. It's like, I'm dating this guy. I'm really not all that, like, I'm starting to lose interest. He's starting to lose interest. We start to back off. Have we broken up? No, because we haven't spoken to each other in 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Like, we haven't broken up. And then it's like, you know, I go to gay night at the bar or whatever in Guelph. And then we're like, and I see him flirting with a guy, which he has every right to do because essentially we haven't dated in like 2 weeks. But then something in me was like, no, you get. Like, how dare he stomp right up to him like, I will never date you again. How dare you, blah, 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 blah. And now I get to walk away being like, well, thank God I ended that one because he was a cheater. Yeah. And it's like, no, like,
oh my God.
We both were not interested. We both moved apart, but neither one of us had the cojones to just say like, let's just end this.
Yeah.
But then I felt like I needed that sort of blow up to be like, I'm the good one, you're the bad one,
Yeah.
I'm out of here. And now I'm validated in that. Whereas like if I just kind of went like, oh, I just don't really feel like it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have as much gravitas.
Yeah.
You know?
For
So people, I've had friends where it's like they stay in these relationships, red flag after red flag after red flag. And it's like they're just waiting for that moment, that inciting incident, either a breakup, either, you know, he said the most hurtful thing to me, or they did the worst thing possible. So that way, when they do leave, they feel so much more validation because everyone around them is going, oh, thank God you left. Because like, how could they have done that to you? How could they have cheated? How could they have, you know, yelled at you or done whatever? And to me, that's so bad, because you should have that awareness to be able to go, oh, like I picked up the first red flag, second red flag, third red flag, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to keep yourself in it to that inciting incident, just so that way you can have a cleaner break, you know, a more final situation.
Yeah.
I think it's that thing, like you said, in terms of like how I feel like people, I forget what like the study that I'm thinking of in my head was, but just like how people would rather do nothing and suffer the consequences as opposed to do something and it be the wrong choice.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So like in having that, like it all climax into a blowout, you're like, you also feel justified in your decision. You're like, no, like I feel at peace. Whereas any other time you're like, I guess I could go back.
What if?
Like, what if?
Yeah.
Like maybe it's not that bad. And then you have to wait, and like you were saying, for those blowout moments.
And also it's a really awful breakup for the other person to deal with, to process. So let's say if like we were in a relationship, me and Anna, and like it got into like I cheated on you, right? Not only do you get to walk away being like, I feel very justified in leaving him because he cheated on me, but then I also feel not good about the breakup, but it's also like, oh, I did something really bad, so I can also understand why you left me.
Yeah, as opposed to...
Because now it's like,
That's
but
so
if
true.
because I've, like, the worst breakups that I've ever had were ones where the person, like, it wasn't a big thing. It wasn't a big blow up. It wasn't a big fight. It was just, you know, not being interested in going further.
Yeah.
And when it's like that, it's not just one thing. It's just like, I just don't like you
Yeah.
with me. And so now, and the person's going, why? And it's like,
the way you're saying
lots
that.
of things. It's like lots of things. And so it's like, it's so much harder for like the person who's doing the breaking up with to justify why they're even having this conversation. Why am I like, you know, putting this person through this breakup? But it's also hard for the other person to understand, you know, we were just having a nice time. Why am I getting dumped all of a sudden? It's not like I did anything wrong.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, it's just not a good fit. But people really struggle with that. And I've had my worst breakups in those moments because the other person wasn't able to just take it and go, oh, you know, like I probably will never understand all the reasons why. But that's, you know, they dumped me. I've got to accept that kind of thing.
That's so true. That's such a good point.
Yeah, that's really hard though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also have like this happening in a friendship currently, where it's just like we've had it out a few times, and like every time this person like convinces me to like stay, and I'm just like, well, I guess they haven't done anything wrong, so there's no real reason to leave, but I still am like, don't know how I feel about all this.
Yeah.
And you get really frustrated. But yeah, that's God, I don't know. So where are we on the never give up on love thing?
But never give up.
Never give
Never give up on love.
Don't even
But
think about it.
but be active in getting it.
Yeah.
Don't just be a passive person that, you know, oh, you know, I never give up on love, but then you're not doing anything to actually bring more positivity and love into your life.
The kind of love that you want.
Yeah, and I think first you've got to find it in yourself.
Yes. Yes.
In the form
But
of
I think-
Jesus Christ.
But I think you do. I always tell all my girlfriends, you know, stop all this energy that you put into these other guys.
Mm-hmm.
You could put that energy into yourself, and you would be. It would serve you so much more for when that real person, that real romantic connection that you're looking for comes into your life. It will serve you so much more.
Yeah.
And it frustrates me to the end of the world that people put so much energy and attention into others that are giving none of it back to them, and they leave themselves last on the list.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts.
It's really tragic.
Yeah.
So what's the rule that you have?
Oh, okay. So I was thinking about this one, and it's the rule that has been, it wasn't taught to me, but I've seen it happen time and time again with friends of mine and everything. If ever you have to apologize for your partner's behavior, leave. That is the main deal breaker. The amount of friends I have had where I have met their partners and their partners have either said something, done something, you know, made people uncomfortable, done the wrong thing, been antisocial, whatever it was. And I never heard an apology from that person, but then it's my friend who comes up and has to justify their, you know, their behavior. They, you know, they rationalize it, they reason it and everything. If you're ever in that situation where you're the one who's apologizing for your partner's behavior, it's done. That's the biggest red flag, because everyone does it, and you need to end it right then and there.
Red flag.
Really, really good.
It is there. Either the person shouldn't do the behavior in the first place, you know, maybe they shouldn't have drank too much that night and gotten a little crazy. Maybe they shouldn't have gotten aggressive with, like, you know, a friend of a friend or whatever it is. So that's like the first thing that should happen. Or if they did do that, you know, if there was, you know, bad behavior, it should be them that comes to, you know, the friend and says, like, I'm sorry. You know, I know we might have just met a couple weeks ago. I'm so embarrassed that I did that. That was on me. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And in this scenario, if your friend, if they didn't apologize, then technically it would be fine because they're on the same kind of level then, right?
Oh, then then they're
just
awful friends. So you have to get rid of them. Because if they also don't care about you or your, you know, your feelings or your whatever, then they should both go.
Yeah.
But the amount of times, like the lines I've heard, and I can see it going both ways in like a heterosexual relationship. But for me, just with my experience, it's always been my girlfriends coming to me and apologizing for their boyfriends or husbands or whatever. And it's all like the lines that I hear where it's like, oh yeah, like, you know, he's totally different when it's just me, you know? Or, you know, oh, sorry, you know, he's different when it's this situation, or it's, you know, he's had a rough week at work. Well, why didn't he tell me he had a rough week at work? You know, oh, he had, you know, and it's the first sign to me that something's going wrong.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the second you start apologizing for your partner's behavior, you're essentially diminishing your own standards because that behavior is all of a sudden acceptable to you.
Yeah.
And you're just putting up with it because it's not being directed at you in that moment. But honey, the tables will turn.
Yeah.
The times they are a-changing. And it might not be you in that instant, but all of that behavior that he's doing to your friends or to, you know, people in public, you know, anything like that, it will get flipped on you one day. So get out while the getting's good. You know?
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Have you ever caught yourself doing something like that where you've
Yeah, specifically with this friend I'm thinking about. Just I was thinking about it the entire time you were talking. I was like, oh my God. And I don't know how to deal with it because they're very good at excusing their behavior. Like how you said, like, I've had a rough day, or it's been a rough week, or it's been a rough month, or
they should exfoliate.
I find it really difficult, especially like if you call someone on that behavior, because this person in particular, when I call them on the behavior, they never, the hard thing for me is like they never say sorry. The first words out of their mouth are, no, that didn't happen, or no, I would never do that. Whereas if they ever have an issue with something I did, the first words out of my mouth are, I'm so sorry. It doesn't matter if it didn't happen exactly the way that they said or whatever. It's like, you feel this way, so I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And like, that's never what they say. And it's just like, it's hard when you're like, like, but they have such good excuses. You know, they were having a rough day.
Well, and also, unfortunately, that sort of behavior, like, it alienates you from those friends that you have, right? Because now if all of a sudden you're apologizing for like a partner or even just a friend, you know, relationships behavior, then all of a sudden you're kind of setting that boundary between what me and my boyfriend thought happened and then what everyone else thought happened.
Yeah.
And everyone else thought that what so-and-so did was a shit move. But we think, oh, like, you know, there's reasons for it. There's, you know, we can rationalize it. We can, you know, make sense of it. So you're already sort of establishing, by doing that, you're establishing those boundaries between you and, you know, all your other friends, because you're kind of holding side with this one person.
Yeah.
And I find with the friendships that I've had where they've gotten into the sort of cycle, the sort of behavior, that's where I start seeing the wall go up. You know?
Within yourself, or
Like within myself, but between me and my friend.
Yeah.
If they
Oh, I
start
see.
apologizing for their, you know, boyfriend's behavior, all of a sudden that wall starts to go up, because the way I see reality is different to what they see.
Yeah.
Because to what they see, it's perfectly fine. Because he's different when he's just with me, or he's had a difficult week, or he's done, you know, you don't know the full story, you know, all that sort of stuff. And what I see is, no, that was behavior that was inexcusable. So he needs to either, you know, fess up to it and apologize and just be a good person about it, and we can all move forward, or this wall's going to continue to grow and build between us. And then that's where you start getting the isolation, the alienation, you know, and all of a sudden you've got a messy situation on your hands.
so stressful.
Yikes.
But that's why I say is like, it took me, you know, several go-arounds with that sort of pattern where I would see it in one like, I think the first time I saw it was, I think it was in grade 10 or grade 11 high school that I can remember, where a guy, you know, we're all, you know, us and our girlfriends, we're all sitting around having a laugh. One girlfriend brought the boyfriend. He was antisocial. He didn't talk to us. He made a couple rude remarks, got up and left early, was just really, you know, arrogant and rude. And then she came back in and said, and I was like, so he's a bit of a dick. And she was like, oh, but he's so different when it's just, when he's with me.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I experienced it, but because I hadn't, it was the first time, I knew it was wrong.
Yeah.
But I had to go through it a few more times with different friends, different relationships, and realize, oh, there's a real pattern to this.
Yeah.
And that's the first kind of moment that I can see where I can tell a friend's relation, you know, it's starting to dive a bit. Because I'm like, oh, we're starting to build that barrier between us now. Because you've got this new reality with this guy where, you know, you're
Where
willing
things
to
are fine.
sacrifice these standards that we have, you know.
Oh God, yeah. We just had like a complete moment of silence, like reflecting on our lives.
For all those futures we're mourning, for all those fantasies that we felt.
Starting season 2 off with some real good advice.
Yeah, getting real
Yeah.
fast. That's awesome.
I don't know if we have time.
For our, which, yeah. Do you want to just do this one segment and then okay, cool. Because I'm really excited for it. Okay. Okay, so this next segment is called "Would You Date Them?" So we're gonna play you a clip from a famous rom-com, and you're gonna tell us if you would date the person.
Great.
Ready?
Mm-hmm. Oh, we're going through the whole clip. Okay, I thought it was just the really.
Not too much longer. Yeah, she's transformed.
Right. No, I know. Yeah.
You know.
I've seen the movie.
And there we go.
Wait, you just wanted to watch her twirl in the air. Would I date them?
Would you date Shrek
No.
saying I love you? No? Oh my
No.
god, that shocked both of us. Wait, what's explain?
God. How do I say this?
Now.
How do I say this?
Oh my god.
I don't want to sleep with Shrek. Like, is that weird?
What?
Is that weird? Is that weird that like I understand the sentiment of the moment, but at the same time I'm like, I also don't want to fuck an ogre. Like, does that make
weird.
sense?
No.
Is that relatable to people
No,
out there, or are we all down with
I
fucking
think
ogres?
we're all against you right now.
Yeah.
Go for it. Like, I love the sentiment. I would love if, I have a long list of men that I would love it if they said that to me.
What if when he becomes a man? Remember when he turns into a man? He's quite hot.
Yeah, but then that's too much.
Okay.
It's too much on the other side.
Okay.
I need
Too manly.
I need a middle area.
Wait.
Because when he gets too hot,
Yeah.
hot,
Yeah.
in air quotes,
Yeah.
when he gets too hot, then it's like, all those negative, personality traits start to come out where he begins to get arrogant,
True.
and I don't want that either.
Yeah.
Oh, you've
I
really
want-
watched the movie.
I want, yes, I want someone to say those words to me, but I just don't want it to be Shrek.
Right. Okay, that's fair.
yeah,
Donkey?
Oh,
I mean, Donkey's pretty feisty.
oh yeah.
Oh, what's a animated character that you would totally fuck? This is for everyone. Question for everyone. I think for me it would be The Little Mermaid, but only when she's a mermaid
Yeah.
and underwater.
Oh yeah.
Underwater.
Takes on it because then she would also be slowly suffocating to death.
What?
If she's out of the water, she can't breathe out of the water.
Not when she's a human though.
Oh, but
Yeah.
still with the tail.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember one right now. I know. I like Prince Eric actually a lot.
Prince Eric is from Sleeping Beauty?
No, from
No,
Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid.
Oh, yeah.
Um.
Prince Eric's pretty cute.
Mhm.
What about Aladdin? Oh,
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
so cute.
Yeah.
What about Genie? Robin Williams? I would totally fuck Robin Williams.
Cute, just would be weird. Shape shifting.
That'd be so cool. I bet that would. No, you don't think that?
No.
Now I'm the weird one.
You
Fine.
probably do. I honestly can't even think. Like, the Frozen ones, no.
The Frozen one?
I guess, like, if we're going into
Frozen.
if we're still going into, like, weird stuff, like the guy, like the Fox Robin Hood.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Fox Robin Hood
Yeah, that's
yeah.
good. That's good.
is a
That's
nice
good one.
medium,
Yeah.
because he's agile,
Yeah.
but he's
cute.
and he's doing things for the betterment of people less fortunate. It's all working for him.
Yeah, it is.
I
The
feel
hat.
Yeah. Oh,
Got a sick
I love
ass
flair.
hat. You love the big accessories.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, honey, I love a big accessory. Let's just be real. Let's just be real. I love. Was that the only?
That's it.
That was
That's
the only
it.
sound clip.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys are so excited. That was
We were
This-
really excited about that.
the least preparation ever for a segment.
That took me 30
Yeah,
minutes.
all these-
It took her 30 minutes.
No, it did not.
It
yeah,
did.
I had to think about what movie I wanted it to be, and then eventually I thought of Shrek, and then I was like, "That's so good." And then I had to look through a lot of the thing to find the good,
Footage.
to find him saying "I love you." I was just watching Shrek in a cafe.
You don't know how hard it's become with the more like
You could've just
episodes.
Googled Shrek going, like, Google Shrek, really?
I didn't even remember that part. I
Oh,
was like,
okay.
"There's
Just
got to
watch
be a
the whole
good
thing.
part of this," but I
True.
don't remember where it is or what.
It's
what
gotten
it is.
so much harder to find sound bites from
Yeah.
like romantic
But
movies.
we're ready and raring to go for season 2.
That
We
was
started
fine.
off right on the right foot
Yeah.
with Shrek saying really.
I loved it. I just don't want to fuck ogres.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, that's fine. We
Yeah, he does that earwax thing.
Oh, and the
Ew.
toes.
I forgot
The
about that.
toes.
Wait,
Do you know what I mean? And then I love the fact is like the lesson in that is like just accept the disgusting ogre within yourself, and then everyone's happy. It's like, or not.
Or find God within yourself.
Stop it.
You're never gonna talk to me again. I feel
Never. People are gonna think I'm like some zealot. Like I don't. It's like if you want to find me, I'll be young in Dundas Square, just yelling into this microphone.
I'll put that in the description for you.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Brian, for
thank you
joining
for
us
It was
today.
my pleasure.
This is so much fun.
Yeah, you're great.
It's the best.
You're so great. We love to end each episode with the best high five ever in the history of the world.
Maybe we could do Pound Its in season 2.
Oh my God, we're doing Pound Its in season 2 now.
How
And
do
this
you
one
make it
will
the
be
best?
Shrek inspired. Grrr.
Like ogre, but just the grr.
Yeah. Oh wait, let's do it again. Well,
Oh,
grrr.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Where can people find you, Brian?
You can find me on Twitter at @OLordy_Brian or on Instagram at BryBryMill.
Sounds good.
Make sure to follow Brian, and thank you so much for listening.
Bye.